Let's now take you back to our top story, which is about how India and Poland have decided to elevate their ties to a strategic partnership. There are a lot of things in motion between India and Poland. Already a very strong relationship that has sustained through the decades, and now an Indian Prime Minister has gone there after 45 years. To talk about it, we have with us Ambassador Manjeev Puri, former senior diplomat, joining us from Delhi itself. Good evening to you, Ambassador Puri. What do you make of what's happening today as far as India and Poland are concerned? A strategic partnership now being announced, and of course there's talk of a social security agreement too.
Gautam, thank you very much. And I'm very glad that you've used these particular expressions. You know, Poland, in the minds of many people in India, we just don't get it that it's a rather large and a big part and an important country in the European Union. Of course, it used to belong to the former Soviet sphere, and we had relations at that time which were tremendous. But Poland is a large country, a large economy, and an economy which has particularly certain areas of great interest to us. In the old days, it used to be coal, where there is a great preponderance in Poland. I am so glad that, we have visited Poland. Prime Minister has gone there after many years, but it's important he's gone there. And we have elevated the relationship to a higher level, a level that we have with many European countries, and it's important. You mentioned the social security agreement. This is something that India is doing with many countries where there are Indian nationals residing, because it allows for, what is called totalization. You earn social security in one place. When you come back to India, the monies get transferred. So it's a very good sign. And I'm really glad that, this step was taken. It was long overdue, but I'm glad that it's happened. So Gautam, give me a second. Let me show you this photograph. This is a photograph of Prime Minister Modi with Donald Tusk, the current Prime Minister of Poland. He was then the President of the European Council and the then President of the European Commission when the Prime Minister was in Brussels for the India-EU summit in 2016. So he's known Donald Tusk, and it's a good idea to build on this chemistry.
Yes, certainly. And Poland will have the leadership of the European Union as well coming in the coming time, in just a few months from now. That will also help perhaps India-EU relations and the trade pact that we're trying to get finalized as well with the EU. But to talk about India and Poland, just tell us, the extent to which the relationship is already developed between these two countries, because a lot of investment, Indian companies invested in Poland, far more than Polish companies in India. And where is the scope of enriching this further, enhancing this further? How will the strategic partnership help?
Gautam, again, an interesting point that you just made. In the old days, we used to be recipients of Polish technology, especially in the coal sector. But now, as things have moved, as Indian companies have gone up the pecking order with technology availability, with finance, Poland is a member of the European Union. It's a country which is a perfect stepping stone for you to access the European Union market. It's also a country where perhaps in various ways there is a little bit ease for companies coming from India to set up shop and start working, as compared to the very old established countries such as France and Germany, where there are a number of barriers to entry. So the way I look at it is, Poland is a very good gateway for India, for Indian companies and others to be in the European Union. Let's not forget, the European Union is the world's second largest economy, just after the United States. And there are a great deal of opportunity. Poland has also been a very friendly country to India. I mentioned to you the good relations during the Soviet days, but this relationship has continued. Look at a simple fact. When the Ukraine crisis erupted and we needed to pull out about 18,000 of our students, Poland was the country that really helped. So it's a relationship. Indians are going to Poland, working there. Companies are setting up jobs. It's a relationship that can only go in the northward direction.
Certainly. And there was, of course, a lot to be said by the two leaders of the two countries, Prime Minister Modi and Donald Tusk, about what's been happening in Ukraine and how that should be handled. And that is a strong message again going out from a neighboring country of Ukraine, and Prime Minister Modi will be heading there as well very shortly.
You're right, Gautam. The Ukrainians especially under Prime Minister Tusk. Their position is, of course, part of the European position, but it's a bit different from the main European position, which is very akin to the American position, which is, let me say, extremely hardline as far as Russia is concerned. This doesn't mean that Prime Minister Tusk, etc., are any less sort of focused on that. But the ideas that we bring forward, that this is not the time for war. Give dialogue a chance. Try and see what can be done while respecting the national sovereignty and all these particular factors. So, Poland is today the gateway for leaders to visit Ukraine, because the only way you can go there is by train, since the Polish airspace, the Ukrainian airspace has been closed for the last couple of years, and only military aircraft fly out there. So there is this entire element. Poland, as the neighboring country, is perhaps by far the most important. And the fact that Prime Minister has gone there, it gives him also an idea to have most up-to-date, recent briefing on what is happening in Ukraine. Let's not forget, Prime Minister met President Zelensky on the sidelines of the G7 summit when he went there in June of this year. And he has met the Russian president, and he's conveyed the same message that, we'll pass on the messages, but try and see if there's way forward negotiated settlements.
Certainly. Well, let's hope that progress is made towards peace as well in the coming days, now that Prime Minister Modi is also visiting Ukraine. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Ambassador Puri.